Welcome to American Power Group's demonstration of the Caterpillar 3412 running on dual fuel, natural gas and diesel. What we are about to demonstrate here is American Power Group's engineered approach to dual fuel technology using a programmable logic controller and gas valve train. For testing purposes, we are using a Merlin Simplex 400K load bank. Here is a snapshot of our gas valve train and the componentry of it. It starts out with ball valve, manual shutoff, a gas filter, electronic solenoid shutoff valve, gas pressure gauge, the gas regulator for pressure, our CV controller, which is an electronic motor stepper that controls a butterfly valve on demand for gas, our Y mixer, along with our stainless steel braided hoses, going over to the mixers, which are pre-turbo injection. Another picture here of our diesel flow scanner. Diesel flow scanner monitors the amount of diesel fuel flowing in and out of the engine, so we can tell our PLC how much diesel fuel we've reduced. Another good picture here showing our mixer installation pre-turbo, and things that we monitor on the engine through the PLC is air pressure, air restriction on the air cleaner, as well as engine coolant temperature. Our oil pressure is monitored also through the PLC. Here's a picture of our PLC, our programmable logic controller, and some of its functions before we start we'll go through on what it monitors. As you can see here, we're going to always be showing our fuel flow in gallons per hour, the load of the load bank in amperage. The gas CV is the percentage of substitution of natural gas we're using. We're always telling how many hours on dual fuel we've had and how many total gallons of diesel fuel have run through the engine. We also monitor the gas pressure coming into the engine. As you see, it's at 5 psi. We're monitoring the oil pressure, the air filter restriction, the jacket temperature, which is the engine temperature in Fahrenheit, 181, and the EGT, which is exhaust gas temperatures currently at 276. This motor was warmed up before this demonstration and ready to start. We also have to the side of this also a fuel log gauge flow scan that will accumulate the data of the fuel and then re-put it over into our programmable logic controller up in the top left, fuel flow 0, showing no fuel at this point. We have an alarm mode that this is a touchscreen PLC. It shows right now that there will be nothing going at this point because we have low load. The PLC will not let gas substitution start until there is a load on the engine. We're going to go ahead and start this engine up. And now we'll come back to the control panel as this engine's running and showing that we have a load of 2 amps, which is a fan that runs on the load bank. It shows that our oil pressure is up to 83 psi, jacket temperature starting to climb, and EGT is coming back up on start. We have 3 light indicators, one showing diesel only, and we go back up to the fuel log here on our idle condition at 5.1 gallon per hour, and it's being input back over to the fuel flow on the PLC to 5 gallon per hour. Here shows our controls on our load bank that we'll be using. We'll be running these ahead up to 350K. This shows just our controller valve to our butterfly that works with demand on the engine. As we warm the engine up, we would substitute a little bit of load here just to show how this gas control valve is being regulated when we load the engine with less or more load. This shows the engine under full load now, 292 amps. Our gas substitution is 46%. And as you can see, our oil pressure and EGTs and jacket temperature are all in the operating parameters. Showing right now on dual fuel, running right at 15 gallons per hour at a 46% substitution in dual fuel. Green light. We're going to go ahead here and hit the emergency stop button. That will put an alarm up, get us right back to diesel fuel only. As you see, it starts decreasing the gas substitution, 20 on down. And you can see our diesel flow moving up to around 20 gallons per hour when we're not on dual fuel. Now this engine would go into any of these situations. It'll display what the code was, emergency stop here for this situation. It could be maybe we had an overheated engine or low oil pressure. It would shut off the dual fuel at that time and go straight back to diesel. Once the alarm is sounded, it shows us what we have for actual alarms, and we have to hit the reset button at that point. It'll clear that alarm and let us go right on back to dual fuel. And you will notice that anytime that the unit has to go from dual fuel to regular straight diesel, it's a seamless interruption. So if there was anything that would ever happen, be it one of the services, the gas was shut off, or something happened to the engine, when the dual fuel shuts off, she never misses a beat and keeps right on putting out the load. You can also see here that there's a main screen which we're looking at, and you saw the alarm working and how that resets. We have a fuel map screen that takes the ability that you have to log in, and we do set that by using thermal dynamics of the engine and its load correspondence to the amount of gas percentage substitution. This also has the ability for call-in via an IP address that you can actually pull this screen up right from your desktop off-site and watch the engine run and the load is being pulled upon. So it has remote capabilities. Here shows our system working in dual fuel mode. And as we reduce the load on the engine, as you can see it coming down, our gas percentage starts to pull down to that 2 amp fan load. Our gas substitution stops because of low load, as you see in the column. And awaiting now for load to be applied back to the engine for it to be restarted on dual fuel. Here's an example of applying a load at no load with the yellow light on. As we apply load to the engine, it automatically goes to green light over on the PLC and opens up our CV valve on the gas drain and allows the gas substitution. This is what we call a dump load, where we dump a load off the engine. As we do that, if you listen to the engine here, you'll notice that we have very little, it's a seamless interruption. The gas CV controller turns the gas back down as we pull the load off. And as we apply load back to the engine, the gas valve will open. That ends the demonstration for the Caterpillar 3412 on dual fuel. And remember, American Power Group is system engineered to meet your needs.